Now that we know what bir al-walidain looks like and what uquq al-walidain looks like, we can now start looking at specific situations that complete our understanding of the topic of the rights of the parents. Because now there's like kind of anomalies which kind of lie outside of the things that we've spoken about. And the first situation that we're going to talk about is whether or not you can still have bir towards your parents even after they pass away. Because so far we've spoken about bir al-walidain and uquq, but if your parents pass away, what can you do, right? And the sad reality is that when people lose their parents, and most people by the way, it is in that moment they realize how precious what they lost was. Subhanallah. Many people realize in that moment when they lose their parents that they could have treated them so much better. Many people realize, even worse, that they were someone of uquq after their parents pass away, but they were just completely blind to it in this life. And it hits them like a ton of bricks. And so they start living life in immense regret. And so the question here that we're going to address is it too late to become someone of bir after they pass away? Can something be done? The answer is yes, something can be done, and the scholars have mentioned 3 things that you can do. The first thing is, in abundance, make dua that Allah forgives them and has mercy on them over and over and over again. This alone is a form of bir that not only your parents need when they're in the grave, but also something that you need because it is an act of worship and something that will push you further into bir al-walidain, something that you have to do. When your parents pass, constantly make dua that Allah forgives them and has mercy on them. The second thing is to fulfill the requests of your parents that they left before they passed away. So maybe they had specific requests that made them happy, or they were in the middle of doing something before they passed away. Finish that for them, for this will also be an act of bir towards them. And finally, number 3 is to stay in touch with their friends and family. This is something that barely anyone does nowadays. As soon as their parents pass away, they turn away from their friends and family and the rope is completely cut. But here the scholars have said, do not cut the rope. Don't alienate yourself from the ones who your parents loved, for interacting with them and being good to them or showing ihsan to them is something that is a form of bir. So maybe meet them every now and again, give them a call, send them a WhatsApp message, maybe get them a gift every now and again. This would all be considered a form of bir, inshallah ta'ala. And to show you that you can actually become someone of bir if your parents die when you're someone of uquq, there is a hadith, but it is weak and there's no harm in mentioning it. But there was a man who was aaq to his parents. He was someone of uquq, right? And one time after they passed away, he saw them in a dream that they were entering the hellfire. And so he was terrified in that dream, and he even woke up terrified. And when he woke up in that state of fear, seeing his parents being dragged to the hellfire, he made sincere dua to Allah that he takes their place and enters them into the hellfire. So when he dies, he goes to hell so that they go into Jannah. Because of Allah's mercy and because of that dua that person made, Allah wrote him as someone of bir, and all 3 of them went into Jannah. Subhanallah. This is a weak hadith, but there's no harm in mentioning it. Remember guys, right? Uquq is a sin. Yeah, so it's not like if your parents pass away, khalas, you're doomed. Uquq is a sin, and like any other sin, you can repent, you can follow it up with good deeds by doing these 3 things that we've just mentioned, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inshallah will write you of people of bir and take you out of uquq. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, "Innal hasanati yudhibna sayyi'at." Indeed, unquestionably good deeds wipe out evil deeds. Okay, so yes, you can do something after your parents pass away.